So, to a new channel, and so, the Green Bay Packers, once again, they lost on Sunday night to the Minnesota Vikings. They're now 4-6-1. And Aaron Rodgers on Sunday night came at the press conference, or Monday morning, press conference came up with the 5-step plan. Go home, beat the Cardinals, beat the Falcons, beat the Bears, beat the Jets, and beat the Lions to go 9-6-1. Now, I am here, and you're going to hear a voice change here in a sec. I personally think it's going to happen. I think 9-6-1 is going to happen, and the question is, to me, is basically, can the Packers make the playoffs still, or can they? At this point, it looks like it's going to have to be the 6th seed. That's what this video is all about. This video is how the Packers can get the 6th seed in the NFC. We'll talk about the NFC, the 5th seed in a sec. So there's their schedule. Week 13. As you see, the Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, Jets, and Lions. And I do think 9-6-1. I think we win our last 5. And here's why. I think next 2 are easy games. The Falcons will be a tougher game. Obviously, it's the Falcons. But their defense is injured. In Lambeau, in the cold, I think that gives us the edge there. So I think we win. And the big game, the one that we might lose, Chicago game, as you might just saw my finger. It's the Chicago game. They are 8-3 in Chicago, but the nice thing about this, there's 2 things about that game that has us a little bit advantage for us. 16 on the road, again on the road, but against the Jets, I think we should have that. Then last game against the Lions. Again, back to the Bears game. 2 things, well, maybe 3. One of them is that they face the Rams the week before, so they might be a little bit more beaten up than we will. Luckily, a little bit nice. 2, we have momentum. Honestly, I think we beat Arizona and we beat Atlanta. We realized we won 2 in a row. We actually have a shot, possibly at 6-6-1. We can actually go 9-6-1 and maybe do this. So, and 3. We have experience in Chicago. Aaron Rodgers, the team a little bit does, but Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have been able to go into Chicago and beat the Bears. And I think it happens. So 9-6-1 I think is going to happen. But we need a little bit of help. So here's the NFC, what it looks like. First seed is the Saints, 10-1. Rams, second, 10-1. I don't think that changes whatsoever. But then they have the Rams at the Bears 8-3. I think they have the division as well. I don't think the Vikings or Packers catch up. Cowboys 6-5 at the 4th seed. Now I don't think they stay. Vikings 6-4-1 at the 5th seed. Redskins 6-5 at the last wild card spot. You see the wild card race. There's 7 teams. Yes, there's 3, 4, and 7 teams, but they're still in it. The Packers are still in it as well, the same record. The teams that you see are the teams that they mainly, I think, beaten. I think there's 2 of them that have L's. Seattle, they're the one team out, 6-5. They've beaten Carolina, Dallas, Green Bay, Detroit. So they have a bunch of advantages over a couple teams. Carolina, they're 6-5. They have advantages over the Eagles and the Bucks. Eagles are 5-6. They have advantages over just Atlanta. And they don't have an advantage over Dallas. Green Bay, 1 advantage over Chicago. So they lost to Seattle. They lost to Minnesota. The Rams. There's quite a bit more. Atlanta, they have advantage 4-7. They have advantages over Carolina. Tampa, Washington, they have the loss to Dallas. Tampa, they have advantages over New Orleans and Philly. And Detroit has advantages over Green Bay and Carolina. So, obviously, they're trying to get you to see more. So, obviously, you can see it's going to be a tight race. But I think my predictions. I think the first three seeds are locked up. I think those are your top three. Dallas, I'm not really sure about for the fourth seed, and then wild cards, obviously. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go through each team's schedule, and we'll go from there. So let's start. So Dallas, and they're still in this because of the fact that the East is not strong. So let's see. They start off with Week 13, home game Thursday night. So it's a short week against the New Orleans Saints, but it's not really a short week for them. They had a week off against the Saints. It's at Dallas, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them. I think they take the L there. Week 14, I didn't put it there. I didn't put the versus, but Week 14 home game versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, I think this is a loss there as well, simply because Philly, I think at that point, I think they will be 6-6, and they know we gotta win this game for sure to have the East. So, and I know it's in Dallas, but Philly has played well in Dallas, and I don't know. Dallas beat Philly, but I think with that, Philly's on a roll, winning 2 in a row. They won week 12, and I think they win week 13. I think they might be in trouble. Week 15 at Indy. That's going to be a tough game. And again, I don't know if they can beat the Colts. I know they have a good team, but Andrew Luck right now is just something else. And I think it might just be too tough for Dallas to do and take another win. I think they lose 3 in a row. However, though, they will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and Tampa Bay at home, they should. At the Giants, again, should be a tough game because division games are always tough. I think they do win. Final record there, so I think they lose their next 3, and then they win out. Final record to me 8-8. Dallas, they could shock me with one of these next 3 games. And the Eagles and the Colts game could also really switch, but I think that's what happens. So Dallas goes to 8-8, and I forgot to tell you. Here's what the scenario is for us. We have to win out, and we have to have every team in front of us, Dallas was not included, to lose at least twice. So the Redskins, we're talking about them. They are one of those teams where they have to lose twice for us to get in. And they start off with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think I need to do the Redskins simply because they don't have a quarterback anymore. They're not beating Philly. They're at home, they're not even at home. They're at Philly. Philly knows they need to win. I think it's just going to be too much pressure for Colt McCoy to take this Redskins team. I don't think they grab the win there. I think they lose. Week 14, though, luckily enough, they do have the Giants. I think they win that game at home. Again, division games are always tough, but you're at home. I think you win there. Week 15, I think you win that game because of the fact that Blake Bortles is not starting. Cody Kessler, he's not the best of quarterbacks either. He is the better quarterback to me. But you're winning that game. It's in Jacksonville. That should be tough. That could easily, to me, also turn to a Colt McCoy against that Jags defense. I think might be a tough task. I think you find a way to win that. Week 16 at Tennessee, I think you lose. Titans are in the same predicament. They have to win quite a bit now to get into the playoffs, and I think they can. Mariota went 22 for 23 last night against the Texans defense. His team just didn't pull through. I think they lose to the Titans, and then week 17 at home. This is a tough one, but I think because Philly, I think at that point will be in the hunt to get into the playoffs. I think that's just they know they need to win at that point. Washington is 2, but I think Philly at that point is going to be on a roll. I think they're going to be hard to stop. Final record for Washington to me 8-8 again. As much as I think Washington would have made the playoffs if, and I'm actually saying this, if Alex Smith did not get injured. So, next up, we got Seattle. Seattle's that's a weird team to predict. They have won quite a bit now. What was it? They were 4-5, and they won their last 2. So they're on a roll. They're going to be tough to stop. They got the home game against the 49ers. That should be a win. The 49ers are not the same team. If they had Jimmy G, this game would be a little bit more. But I think it's going to be tough for Nick Mullins in Seattle to pull off a win. I don't think they can. But then, week 14, for a home game against the Vikings. I think the Vikings might pick it up. They know what time it is. They need to go. Kirk Cousins, it's going to be tough for Kirk Cousins to get this team going because it's Kirk Cousins. But I think they find a way to lose that game. Week 15 at San Fran. I'm actually kind of torn in that game because I think they could lose, but I think they could win. I think, maybe San Fran at home could get the job done, but on the road, I don't think they can. Week 6, I messed that up. Well, sorry about that. There. I think that's a loss against Kansas City. Kansas City is a strong team. I think the defense, if they had the same defense they had a couple of years ago, yes. But they don't. I think they're not going to get lighted up. And then week 17 versus Arizona. I'm taking them to lose that game. Here's why. They find ways to lose to Arizona. Like last week, week 17 at home against Arizona. They needed to win to get to the playoffs. They needed Atlanta to lose, but they had a shot to get in before they knew that Atlanta won. They had a shot, and they lost. And it was to Blaine Gabbert, I think, who was the quarterback for the Cardinals there. I think it's gonna be I think they might lose that. At this time, it's not Rosen's first career start. So I really do think it could be troubling for Seattle. I think 8-8 as well, but I will give you the possible 9-7 because I think that game week 17 can honestly go either way. So there's what I think of Seattle, Carolina. This team, Carolina. Let's get right into it. Week 13 at Tampa. Tampa Bay is surprising me. They're 4-7, but Jameis Winston, no, they're not getting it. They're getting the win. I think Carolina can pull off. It's in Tampa. I think it will be a little bit tougher than what people think. I think they find a way to win. And then, that's wrong as well. Look at me, guys. I am totally good at this, huh? 4-6-1. That doesn't matter to me. The same record. I think they win. I think they could lose that one as well. Cleveland is a strange team to me. Cleveland is a weird team, but I think they find a way to win. And here's where it gets weirder for this team. Because we need Carolina to lose 2 more times. And I don't know if we can. Because week 15, you say they have the Saints twice. But they have one game at home. It's the week 15 game. Yeah, week 17. But that's probably going to be against their backups, not their starters, right? So that's going to be tough. Week 15 versus New Orleans. That's tough. I really want to give them the L, but I am really torn. I think they do find a way to beat the Saints at home. They didn't do it last year, which does give me hope on that, but I think they find a way to win. I think they beat Atlanta this time. And then, again, this is what I'm talking about. Now you're at New Orleans, which is tough, but most likely against their backups, unless they're fighting for the bye. Like, let's say maybe they're fighting with Chicago to get that bye. But I think they're resting stars. But it is in New Orleans, so I will give them the loss. And this is the team that I'm worried about because we have to have everyone in front of us lose twice, and I don't know if Carolina loses twice. 10-6 to me is what they go. I do again, I'll put another slash. I think they could possibly go 9-7, but at the worst 10-6. Because I mean, I don't. The problem is, it's like again they're at home in week 15. That gives them the home advantage. And week 17 against their backups, but it is in New Orleans, so that's tough. And last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles, former Super Bowl champs. So I gave Washington the loss, so I'm giving them the win there. I'm also giving them the win there. So there you go. They're back to 7-6 at that spot. But then look at your last three. That's not an easy last three. They gotta find a way to win 2. They gotta find a way to win 2. Against at LA, it's a revenge for Carson Wentz from his injury last year, but they're not winning that game. The Rams are just too good, and as I said, they lose. Week 16, oh yeah, I also gave them the win there. So right there, they're 8-7. So it's all in this Houston game, and it's all in that Houston game. Houston is a good team. I like their team. They've won 8 straight. That's impressive. For Houston, that's Saints have won 10 straight, but it's the Saints. Texans, there are always questions in Houston. It's tough. I definitely think Philly could lose this. I am though giving them the win because it's in Philly. It is that game is, they know it's a do or die game. The only way it's not is if they beat the Rams in the previous. If they have what I predicted, like in the next 3 games. Like if they win their next 3, then that's not a must need. But if they win 2 of the next 3, that's a must need win. Need to win this to go at least 9-7, and I think they do go 9-7. So that's that. So we don't have to type up anything anymore. It's tough. It's gonna be tough. And then there's the next bottom 3. I didn't want to go into depth. Just look at their schedules. Atlanta, they're 4-7. They have to win all 5 to win. Problem is, they have Baltimore at home, but Baltimore has a nice defense. Green Bay, and Lamar Jackson against that injured Atlanta defense. That's tough. At Green Bay, I think Green Bay won that. And then at Carolina, I think that's too tough for Atlanta to overcome. Those 3 games are the toughest. Tampa, they have to home game against Carolina, home game against New Orleans, at Baltimore, at Dallas, and then Atlanta. Way too tough for them. And then Detroit, Rams, Vikings, and at Green Bay. I think they could win the Minnesota game. I really do. And at Green Bay. So here's what I think happens. So obviously the NFC is there. So that's the NFC. With teams Dallas, like I said, I think Dallas falls out. So they go 8-8. Washington goes 8-8. So that means Philly is your NFC East champions at 9-7. I think that's a risky prediction to make, but that's what I personally think. Carolina goes 10-6, and then Seattle 8-8. 9. I'm gonna go with 9-7. I'm going with 9-7. I think they could lose that game for sure. I'm going with 9-7. I'm going with 10-6. So with that in mind, that would eliminate us from the playoffs. Dallas is out. Philly is in. New Orleans, Rams, Bears, Eagles at the 4th seed. Vikings 5th. Panthers 6th. However, that's how we get the 6th seed. But there is another way we can get the 6th seed. That's one way we can get the 6th seed. Everyone has to lose twice. But Carolina wins, let's say they go 10-6. there's still a way we can get that 6th seed. And that's if Minnesota. You see, they're 6-4-1. However, they have the tiebreakers. However, they still have to go to New England this week. They got to go to Seattle. They got to go to Detroit. I know I say Detroit, but that's going to be... division games are always tough. And then they got to host Chicago. That's not an easy schedule for the Vikings. You know, if they lose three, then if Minnesota loses 3, then we're okay if one of the other 4 teams in front of us wins an extra game, only loses once, you know? But there you go. That's how we make it, and that's what I think actually happens. I know you're probably thinking, if you're watching this, what the hell are you thinking? But that's what I think. I think Dallas goes 8-8, Washington goes 8-8, Seattle goes 9-7, Carolina 10-6, Philly 9-7, and I think Minnesota can drop out. I think they lose 3. That's how we make it. So again, we need to win out. Every one of those 4 besides Dallas needs to lose twice. That can include Dallas. Everyone needs to lose twice. Or if one of the teams wins an extra game, only loses once, unless it's Dallas or Philly and they have the East. But you know what I mean? If they only lose once, we can still get in if Minnesota loses 3. So that's how we can do it. Let me know what you guys think. Can the Green Bay Packers still make the playoffs? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.